2020 Annual Merit System Meeting will be called to order. The first thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the February 14, 2019 minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion, we approve them as written.
And I second.
Okay, all in favor? It is approved. Okay. We have 10 proposed changes or additions to the merit system book, and we have them in order on the agenda. And the first one is 13-124A, vacation leave, and Janet Willis. Is Ms. Willis? Ms. Willis here? Okay. Ed, will you take it and run with it?
All right. This was, currently reads that it's 13-124 vacation leave. Permanent full-time employees begin to accrue vacation leave immediately upon employment, although vacation leave may not be used until the employee has successfully completed 1 year of service. The suggested change was suggested 6 months or earlier for employees to be able to use vacation leave. This would allow employees to meet personal obligations without having a deduction in their paychecks. Got some reasoning down here that was pretty good. Sorry about that. Pushed it away on purpose. All y'all hear me okay, or do I need to start over? Okay, thank you. We've looked at surrounding municipalities that's similar to Douglas County, and our findings with the few that I've looked at is this is pretty much typical across the board. Most all of them, you're going to work a year before you're eligible to take your vacation. This has been a rule with Douglas County since before the merit system. So at this time, I'd recommend that we do not change this, that we leave it as written.
Brown?
And I recommend that we leave as is too. Do we have any discussion
Anything from the employees?
on number 1, vacation leave?
And with
I recommend we leave as is.
okay, with your recommendation, Mr.
I'll second her recommendation.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll say it stays as is. Number 2, Mr. Major Holmes.
Mr. Major Bobby
Yeah.
Holmes.
I didn't know whether y'all are going to read it or not.
You go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening, Major.
The next item that we're going to discuss is item number 2, I believe, on the agenda.
Yes, sir.
Compensation pay plan. Okay, in reference to item number 2 on the agenda for tonight's meeting, I am requesting that my submission, be withdrawn at this time. After speaking with Sheriff Tim Pounds on this matter, he likes and wants the current wording in the merit system to remain the same for the composition pay plan. It's 1337.
On the withdrawal, I'll make a motion that we withdraw it.
Okay,
I'll second.
we agree.
We agree.
Do we have any discussion, Julian? I'd
Any
like to
discussion?
discuss that. I'd like to discuss it, if possible.
Okay,
Well, wait a minute, time out. Can we discuss on one that's withdrawn?
That's my question. Can we discuss one that's been withdrawn?
I mean, it was withdrew before a question was asked, was there any discussion?
the proposal is out there, all right? So it's there, the employees were given copies of it, so I would say that there can be discussion. Just just for discussion's sake. So, Fred,
Okay.
you've got something?
I do, in particular for this one. I met with Bobby earlier today to talk specifically about this one, two of his submissions, because my submission was going to be similar to this one. And I noted to him that although I wanted to make just a few changes to his verbiage, the whole purpose behind 13-37 is to identify that the county now has two pay plans. We are operating both under the open range as well as the grade and step plan. This change would be the change that I particularly was seeking to put in the merit system to identify the grade or the open range as a pay structure that the county now identifies.
All right. My question back to you then, Fred. The plan as it states now. All right. If we leave it as it is, all right, that takes care of the sheriff's question. Is that not right?
That is my understanding.
All right. The reason I say that is because if you look at 1343, we, last year, I believe, or year before last, when the open range was discussed, we said that the section, when approved by the employees and everything, that it would be made a part of the merit system. Without changing this and adding that, do we not take care of both?
Well, just for those of you that's not familiar, Section 1343, pay plan in 4 states, the pay plan, when adopted, shall be considered as part of this article and shall have the same force and effect as these personnel rules and regulations. So if that pay plan's been adopted, it's already there.
And this is not taken out. You follow me? That's the reason I said if we're withdrawn, aren't we covering both, Fred?
No, I don't. I think the one that we have that we're currently discussing, 13-37, I see what you're saying in regards to 13-43. That whichever, plan is adopted by the Board of Commissioners, that would be recognized, but it specifically states in 13-37 that the pay plan includes pay grades for which each position in the classification plan and the pay steps within each such grade. The open range does not have pay steps, which is why I'd like to have it specifically cited in 13-37.
The open range does not.
Does not have steps.
But the existing plan does have steps.
The what now?
The existing plan does have steps.
That's correct.
It does.
Okay.
It does. You were correct. I believe it was 2018 merit meeting that we had. There was a proposal by me to discuss some changes in wording to the pay plan, and I believe it was passed on. I don't know what ended up happening in relation to it after our meeting. In 2019, I don't believe there was anything that was presented.
Right.
And today, like I said, when I prepared this, and I talked to the sheriff after we talked today, and the sheriff has asked me to withdraw my request because he likes the pay plan as it is, so that's why I'm withdrawing it. Now, as a result of that, the way the current pay plan, the way 1337 reads, Mr. Perry is correct that it says the pay plan includes pay grades for each position in the classification plan and the pay steps within each such grade. That is the way it's been worded to my recollection for years. There isn't anything that mentions open range. Now, under the one you quoted, 43, I haven't researched that, so I really don't want to speak on that tonight without having some research done on it. But like I said, after talking to the sheriff this afternoon, he asked that I withdraw it, and that's what I'm asking y'all to do, is withdraw my request.
All right. Thank you.
But Julian, a question for you. I submitted to you all after our conversation, the modification that I wanted to see to this particular proposal. And that's the reason why I didn't submit my own proposal in covering this, is that I'd rather just submit that as a modification to what we have. And after speaking with Bobby, and Bobby told me that he was going to speak with Chief Deputy and the Sheriff, and we thought that there wouldn't be a problem, but withdrawing this is going to take another calendar year before we can put something into the merit system that would identify the open range. So if Bobby would like to withdraw his proposal, I would like for my proposal to be considered.
All right. My question still is that the open range that was approved and is now being used along with this plan here,
Right.
why do we need an amendment to this one if the open range is
Well,
self-explanatory?
The open range is self-explanatory, but in the merit system, it only identifies the grade and step. That's the only pay structure that it identifies.
Yeah, but 13143 clearly says that the pay plan, when adopted, and the grade and step and open range are both adopted, right?
Right. Okay.
I think they're both covered there.
Okay, so just for the sake of the meeting, we can move forward. Now have a discussion with the Board of Commissioners regarding this change.
Okay, but
All right.
as far as that goes, it is withdrawn because the board feels that it's covered between the present plan and the 1343. So it is withdrawn.
Okay, all right.
All right. 3,
Okay,
thank you for that.
okay. Number 3 is 13-69 promotional appointments. It currently reads at this time, the probationary period for a permanent employee being promoted or transferred to a different classified position will be for a period of 3 months from the promotion transfer date. The request that has been submitted was asked to be changed to the probationary period for a permanent employee, non-public safety, being promoted or transferred to a different classified position will be for a period of 3 months from the promotion transfer date. All promotions, transfers into a public safety position, and in parentheses it says Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, E911, and EMA, will be for a period of 6 months from the promotion transfer date. The reason for this is the public safety departments have historically and for years done a 6-month probationary period for folks that get transferred. And the reasons for that stem down to the hours that are worked, the shift work that's done. The Sheriff's Office runs and works 7 days out of a 14-day pay period. The Fire Department, I believe, works 5.5 days out of a 14-day pay period. And the problem with that is in a 90-day period, it is inadequate for us to properly train and get an employee to be able to be functional and be productive in that position. Example, like I said, for years, the Sheriff's Office, and I understand the Fire Department, has always done where it's a 6-month probationary period. We wanted to make this change and make this request to clarify it in the merit system because there could be a situation down the road where an employee would try to challenge that because it currently says 3 months. And if a person was in his 4th or 5th month, would try to challenge and say, well, I've already completed my probationary period, when in reality, we clearly tell each promotion applicant, you're under a 6-month probationary period. Should they challenge that to the merit board, it might become problematic. Does that make sense? So that's why we're asking, because we just don't, I mean, 3 months is not enough time to train a firefighter lieutenant, a firefighter captain, a patrol sergeant, a patrol lieutenant, when they work only half or less than half of the days in a 14-day pay period. So, and that was the request that we made. There's a number 4, which I won't go into, other than number 3 and number 4 are related simply because I wanted to separate them, because if 3 is good, then 4 is right in line with that.
My question is more of a comment than a question.
Yes, sir.
But a person can be hired, promoted, whatever the reason be, and their probationary period starts then,
Yes.
all right? If for some reason does not the department head, the fire chief, the sheriff, whomever the department head be, have the right to say, hey, look, this person needs more time in their probationary period? I mean, I'm asking.
There's a clause in there that talks about you can extend a probationary period, I believe, for up to 90 more days. And also, when you're talking about hiring, I just want to make sure we're clear, there's 2 different things here we're talking about.
Right.
When you're hired on as a new full-time employee, everybody is under a 6-month probationary period. And as a result of that 6-month probationary period, if at some point in there it is determined that that person needs to have their probation extended for whatever reason, it has to be sent through the proper channels of the department head through to Mr. Perry and approved, and then that would give an additional 90 days. What we're asking is, for non-public safety employees under this, that would go on a probationary scenario from a 3 months to a 6 months if there was a problem. But for a public safety person on a promotion, that would go from a 6-month to potentially a 9-month if there was a problem. So, like I said, it's two different things there. And I just want to make sure we're all clear that I'm not asking to change anything with new hire probationary period. That's
Well, I
appropriate.
realize that, but I'm just saying, though, you could do that in a situation where you promoted somebody in the sheriff's department. Could you not, if 3 months is not enough, could you not extend them 3 months more?
Well, consistently with us, it takes more than that 3 months. That's why we're asking that we have it extended for the public safety. Could you do more paperwork and burden us and burden personnel by saying, hey, we need 3 more months? And let's say we do that for 50% of the people we promote. That's creating undue hardship and undue paperwork. Then if we have it as a 6-month period to start with, then I think we should be able to find out whether or not our employee's going to be able to perform the job or not.
Discussion? We had discussed this in our meeting to the work session, and we thought it was fine to go ahead and go with it, but I just wanted it out there that other was out there. And like I say, it was more of a comment than it was anything. You explained it very, very well, and we will present this if we have the vote. Do I hear a motion?
I was going to tell you one thing that me and Mr. Perry talked about today was the discussion of the words Sheriff's Office, Fire Department, E911, and EMA that is actually in what I worded may not be in there. If for some reason it is decided by the powers to be that they would like to leave it generic and just put public safety, we would ask that you address that in the definitions section on page 4 of the merit system, where it says public safety, and it identifies who these 4 agencies or who these 4 are. We can leave it here and as written as we did, or if there's an issue, it really needs to be defined, because I don't want somebody to be able to confuse that. It's pretty self-explanatory, but that's why I put it in this initial one that I did. Does that make sense? Okay.
Mr. Perry,
Would it help
how do
to
you-
say all promotions and transfers into a certified public safety position? Would it help to add the word certified public safety position?
Probably not. All we're trying to do is define what is public safety in Douglas County, and that's the whole reason why we included those 4 things.
Okay.
So
Is that-
if you put certified or not, that's really not going to address
Not
the
gonna help.
question. I don't believe it will.
All right. Mr.
Works for
Perry,
me.
Works for me.
Works, okay. Well, like I said, this one right here, we'll send through,
Okay.
okay? All right,
You want a motion on it?
yeah, that's what I say.
Make a motion that we send this on as written.
And I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're sending it through. Number 4,
Okay. Number 4, the reason I did not include it in number 3 is because it's a lot, it'd be more than one page, and I was trying to keep this stuff at one page. This falls in line with that one. Under number 4, under promotional appointments, it reads, what we did in the other one, the probationary period for a permanent employee being promoted or transferred to a different classified position will be for a period of 3 months from the promotion transfer date. We addressed that in number 3. What I'm trying to address in number 4 is from that next word, example, an equipment operator applying for and being selected for a deputy sheriff position. This employee will not be eligible for a merit increase during this probationary period. If the employee's annual merit increase consideration date is within the probationary period, the merit increase will be delayed until the probationary period is completed and the department head makes the decision that the employee is qualified and eligible for a merit increase in the new position. The next merit increase consideration will be 1 year from this merit increase. There's a few things that could be discussed in relation to this. One, up front, and me and Mr. Perry talked about this today, the county commissioners have decided as of year 2019 that merit increases, instead of being on people's anniversary dates of employment, fell to a February through May 31st
yes.
timeframe. So all county employees, regardless of their department or where they're at, they have to have their evaluations in by May 31st for personnel to go through them and get them sorted out, because in 2019 and presumably in the future years will be a situation where merit increases would come in July 1. With that said alone, would null and void what I just read. The very first sentence, the example, an equipment operator applying for and being selected for a deputy sheriff position would not, that, I think that just needs to be taken out. And then when we're talking about the merit increases, the way that the county has gone in 2019 with merit increases is in contradiction to this. Also, historically with the sheriff's office, if your anniversary date is tomorrow, February 14th, Valentine's Day, that's your anniversary date with the county. Well, we promoted you to a patrol sergeant January the 1st. And from January the 1st until June 30th, which we run 6 months, you're under a probationary period as that supervisor. And then at that point, then you become a permanent employee and pass the probationary period. You have a merit increase under the old way we did things, due you February 14th if you have a satisfactory or above evaluation. What this does is prevent that person from getting that merit increase in February until July 1st or later, because they're on a probationary position within the county. We historically at the Sheriff's Office have not done that. If you have a merit increase because your anniversary date was in time that you were in a probationary period, because, for one, that employee got the raise to be in that promotionary position, and two, why would you punish them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months to get their annual merit increase on their anniversary date? Now, I make that argument because of the way historically we have done things. But in 2019, we changed things to where it's a different animal. It's different now, and I think it makes this null and void. And I ask that that be stricken and be removed. And that's what my request is for number 4. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any discussion? Ready?
No.
All right, y'all hashed this out earlier, and it's in agreement that it's been covered by the 2019.
2019 changed a lot of things that we're still encountering and stuff, so And I'll be honest with you, I think we all agree that the simpler we can make the merit system, as long as it gets the job done, you don't need to keep adding things, and that was why that's a request.
So your request is,
Request is to, the change to, I didn't read that, I apologize, I jumped into the middle of it. The change to was the employee will be eligible for a merit increase during this probationary period. All the other current, now this is in parentheses afterward, all the other current wording will be deleted, which is what I discussed. And I have it highlighted in this if you want my copy of that, what I'm asking to be deleted. So,
you got to,
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we do it. And I understand it totally, because if you're penalizing people for taking a promotion, that's sending the wrong message.
I agree.
And with I'm not sure about this time change on merit system promotions, going, what was those months? May to what?
February.
February.
February 1st to May 31st is the evaluation completion time for all county employees, regardless of your hire date.
Okay.
Is it going to be that way in the future? I don't know. That's what 2019 set the standard for, and I anticipate that's where we're going. And if so, it would null and void that.
Well, I'll make a motion that we accept this as the major has presented it.
I second that to send it in with this change.
with that change, all right. We'll send it.
Okay.
Okay,
I think that concludes me.
okay.
Thank
Hang
y'all.
around, I'm gonna have some questions.
Thank you.
Thank
Don't
you.
go anywhere.
Number 5 is, Mr. Valentine here?
He did email me, Julian, to let me know that he had a previous engagement that he couldn't break, and he wouldn't be here.
Okay, all right. If you have your copies out there, or you made copies, it's to section 13-130, FMA leave. And if you've read current, you've read change 2, and the reason that the change is a situation that we have to say FMLA is not a merit system verbiage. The FMLA is set by the government. Is that not right?
That's correct.
Mr. Perry? Fred? It is, so there's nothing that we can do about FMLA. So, do we have a motion here?
I'll make a motion that we reject this due to the fact it comes under federal guidelines and it's out of our control.
And I second.
All in favor? All right.
Aye.
This will be rejected. Number 6, also Mr. Valentine, and it's 13-124, vacation. Lynn, you want to?
Okay, that's 13-124, vacation leave. It currently reads, rate of leave accrual. Permanent full-time employees begin to accrue vacation leave immediately upon employment, although vacation leave may not be used until the employee has successfully completed 1 year of service. So he wants this changed to, well, he didn't word it exactly. He just said this portion of section A should be amended to read until the employee has successfully completed 6 months of service or until the end of their probationary period, including any extensions, whichever is longer. So, reason for the change is the waiting period for use of vacation leave is unreasonably long, which can be hinder, that's not good English there, recruitment efforts, particularly when jobs are plentiful. Fred, I wanted to ask you, is this a problem and does it need more review?
I have not done, I've been here, Lynn, going on 5 years now, and I've not seen this to be a problem. I have had requests from time to time from employees stating what Miguel is stating here, that they wish that we would consider a shorter time period for employees to be able to have access to their vacation leave. But as far as it being a major obstacle in hiring, no. And Lynn, if you would, I've been signaled by our communications person for you to speak into your microphone.
Any questions or comments or discussion from the audience? Yes, ma'am. Come forward.
I'm just asking for clarification. Isn't this basically the same thing as number one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So you'll like my motion? Mr. Chairman, in looking back at our number one item tonight, 13-124A, basically, this is very similar, if not the same. With the research I've done, we would be out of line with the surrounding governments. And I'd say, at this time, unless there's further discussion, I would make a motion that we reject this one.
And I too am in favor of leaving this one as is, not going toward this change at all.
Any other discussion? Mr. Perry? No. Okay, all right, vote.
In favor of rejecting?
You made the motion?
I made the motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We do not carry that one. Number 7, entrance salary has $13.40. And it reads, the minimum rate established for the class is the normal hiring rate. Appointments under special conditions and subject to the prior approval of the Board of Commissioners may be made above the minimum rate when such an action is determined to be necessary in the best interest of the county. And he requests the change to be to minimum rate established for, or the minimum rate established for a class in the normal hiring rate. Appointments under special conditions and subject of the approval of the department head and the county administrator provided sufficient funds are available in the department's approved budget to cover the proposed salary change, may be made above the minimum rate when such action is determined to be necessary in the best interest of the county. And the reason for the change, hiring above the minimum rate is now often necessary to attract well-qualified candidates. For the candidate to be competitive and to not to lose best candidates to the competition, hiring above minimum should be at the discretion of the department head and the county administrator. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I feel like that this takes the Board of Commissioners out of the loop. They're the elected body that governs the entire payroll of the county, and I'm opposed to this.
I'm opposed to this as well.
Any discussion?
Well, would like to state, Julian, that typically the way it is now is if we have a process in place, if you hire someone in with a special skill set, you want to pay them a little, more than what the minimum of that grade is. It's just a request that's made to the county administrator. The county administrator does have autonomy up to a certain amount to approve for hiring above the minimum. And typically he would keep the Board of Commissioners informed on that. If it's a significant amount, then of course it will require the Board of Commissioners to approve it. But I'm like Eddie, that this does take the Board of Commissioners out of the loop, and they probably would look favorably upon that.
And actually, the Board of Commissioners would still be speaking to the department head and/or the county administrator. I mean, they would be taking in any advisement for
Right.
from anyone for this employee. Okay.
One question, and you'll probably know, this open range, thing would cover this, would it not?
Uh,
With the approval of the board.
But when you say it'll cover it,
Yeah, if I was a department head, like, I'm gonna be fire chief for a minute. Thank you, chief. If I was the fire chief and I needed to hire, say, a inspector, fire inspector, and I found one that was available but not at the salary range, could I not go right now to the county manager and discuss it with him if my budget's got the money and pass it on to the board for their approval?
absolutely,
I think it's covered.
yeah.
You made the motion.
I make a motion that this, stay as is, this $13.39 entrance salary.
1340,
Well,
It's 1339, actually.
is it?
It is.
Mine's
Yeah.
wrong.
somebody
Yeah.
marked through mine and put 39. I just figured that was our secretary, Cindy.
I'm doing that as we speak.
Okay. All right,
I'll second her motion.
all right, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, this does not get presented. All right. And, this is by McGill, again, 1356. Ed?
1356. 1356, employment of relatives, currently reads, the term department includes permit and inspection departments and road departments, and the three dots past that, I assume, is et cetera. Change 2, this section should be amended to incorporate the transportation department and any other department not currently listed. And for reason it says some departments currently active are not listed, while some listed are no longer active in the county organization. The list should be amended to reflect the current county organization.
The discussion that we had is that, and we've done this, I know, maybe once or twice since you've been here, Fred, where we actually have to scrub the merit system for verbiage,
House
like,
cleaning
you know,
101.
personnel department, human resources department, different things like that. And I think he's on the right track in doing that, but just to do it for transportation or whatever is limiting it somewhat, because again, it's probably just time for a good scrubbing and taking care of those, because departments have changed names and things like that. So, Fred, I'm going to yield to you on the thing there. Do we say it needs to pass, or do we need to just say the scrubbing? I mean,
I would like to, and I submitted to the Personnel Review Board, a kind of a modification
Okay.
of this proposal, and it actually takes out all the naming of departments, and instead of the term department includes so on and so forth, all of the departments, I recommended that we change it to the term department includes all departments recognized in the organizational structure of the county. So if a department is merged, or if it's deleted, or if a new one is added, it would automatically be covered under here.
does that, did y'all understand that part of it? I mean, it sounds reasonable to me, because it does what Major Holmes talked about a little bit. It's helping make it clearer, and it would do that. If it's a department, it's a department. If it's not, it's not. And a department has a head, and the head has a responsibility. So we would say that with Fred's modification, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Okay.
Lindy West. I have a question about this. Will this include all departments in county government under the BOC?
All departments that are all recognized in the organizational structure of the county.
And that we can hire relatives if the department head wishes?
This has nothing to do with.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I apologize.
Yeah.
Well, it is the employment of relatives. That's the title under this.
He
Yeah,
just
it-
wants
I thought that was
the
correct.
term
right.
department.
Right.
It's under employment of relatives, but it does not specifically deal with employment of relatives. It falls under that category. But what we're looking at is the identification of the term department. What is department defined as?
Okay, so will all departments, is what he's asking, is, are you going to propose all departments will be included for this under the BOC? That's my
correct.
question.
That's correct.
Okay, thank
Yes.
you.
It's my understanding that it changed to, instead of listing all those departments, it's gonna say the term department includes all departments recognized in the organizational structure of the county. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Barry?
That's correct.
And that's the way we will present it. Any,
One
Yeah.
thought, and it's just a thought. Instead of organizational structure of the county, would it be better to change that to organizational structure of Douglas County?
we are the county. I mean,
I
we
understand.
don't do anything
But
but,
just for clarification.
yeah, I
I'm
got
asking
you.
a question.
Uh,
You know, the way he's got it here, I'm fine with.
Well, I would say leave it like it is because he may or may not have some leeway there if somebody comes in to do something. It would be under the county's guidelines, but I just, I just
Okay.
think it's Douglas County's merit system. But
Okay.
Good question.
Just wondering.
Yep. Do I have a motion with the changes?
I'll make a motion that we accept it with Frederick's changes, number 8, the 1356, so it's inclusive of all of the departments in the county.
I second.
All right, that one will be carried.
To vote.
Vote.
Aye.
No, it carries. All right. Lynn, 13101.
Thirteen one oh one, reasons for disciplinary action.
Well,
Is there any discussion left on that last one? We were trying to read what the
Oh,
section was.
can we open this back up?
If you have a question, we'd love to hear your question
Or you comment.
or your comment.
Kenneth Connor, Sheriff's Office. So what I'm understanding on the last one is that you're defining the term a department within the section of employment of relatives. And we were trying to read it real quick. So I guess when it says the jail department, sheriff's department, the sheriff being an elected official, and I don't see where it says in here, and maybe I'm overlooked it, that the department has discretion, but he's a constitutional elected official, and he does hire relatives. Not only does he hire relatives, we also have, we have a department of almost 400 people, and we have employees that are current employees that get married. So I see that it's already in here, that it's in there, but I would have some concerns to the sheriff's office being named in a group of departments within the organization.
I think we're kind of getting off.
Yeah, I'm like, the sheriff's independent. He is the sheriff's office is his. Right? We all recognize that. And to say, you know, I think you're maybe fine tuning something that's not there. We're only talking about defining departments. We're not saying anything about any of the other stuff that's there. We're not taking anything out. We're not adding anything to.
Right, I'm saying that we're already in there. I was just saying that,
Well, that's what we're saying. We're just not saying this. We're
Right, I
saying that's
understand that.
there. Okay?
So if we were to add a department before February of next year, we won't have to readdress this.
right, I understand that. You know, it's a definition that encompasses an entire section, and we were just trying to make sure we had clarification on, because I'm sure it may be somewhere in here of some discretion, but I'm not seeing it right off, so,
Thank you for your comments.
yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it carried. All right, number 1342, salary review, Eddie.
Well, I didn't finish my 13101.
Oh, you didn't?
No,
I'm sorry.
we went backward.
That's right. I'm sorry.
This is-
13101.
Reasons for disciplinary actions. Number 7, willfully giving false statements to supervisors, officials, or the public. And this was presented by Frederick Perry. He wants it changed. Number 7 would be willfully giving false statements, and we would be adding and/or providing falsified documents to supervisors, officials, or the public. Any discussion?
Reason.
Well, the reason is for disciplinary action should include submission of falsified documents as well as statements.
And Lynn, if I could comment, I just, you know, this change is just based off of some issues that we've had in my department, not specifically in my department, but disciplinary actions that I've been involved in. And just want to make it clear that, you know, and I don't want to continue to make a lot of changes to this area, but I think that it's important to have falsified documents inclusive of reasons for disciplinary action.
Well, I agree somewhat with this. In other words, you may be talking to someone, you would tell them to send you the documents certifying such and such, and I understand that. I am in agreement with this.
Yes, we've already had a case we heard where there was some falsified documents
Correct.
that entered into the case. So I would say
Correct.
on this, I'd definitely be in favor of it.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
All right, Lynn,
I make a motion that we change this, send this to the BOC.
And I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll send that one. All right. Now, 1342, salary reviews. And Mr. Daniel?
1342, salary reviews. On the anniversary date of employees with the county, each permanent employee may receive a salary increase not to exceed 1 step. Change 2. Each permanent employee may receive a salary increase not to exceed 1 step. The timing of this salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners. Reason, the Board of Commissioners will authorize the timing of salary review increases.
Discussion.
Kenneth Connor again. I just have, the issue I have with this is, it goes back to the very first one that Major Holmes had addressed and withdrew. we're wanting to change something that increases to one step, but we're not recognizing steps anymore. So, and it's littered throughout the merit system about steps. So, my concern is that I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with the discussion on the first one, or what's going to be presented to the Board of Commissioners. But the issue we have is, it needs to be clearly defined on who's in open range and who's not in open range, because the whole merit system is geared toward steps throughout the whole section. So proposing a change to something that already talks about a step to something that says that each permanent employee is going to may not exceed a step. Now we're going back to saying that all permanent employees are under the steps and grades, which is not, according to Mr. Perry. So I'm not sure what it's really clarifying.
If I could speak to that,
Okay,
Julian, I submitted a revised, based off of our meeting, I submitted a revised proposal to you all, and it reads, well, it currently reads, on the anniversary date of employment with the county, each permanent employee may receive a salary increase not to exceed one step. That's what it currently reads. My proposal was for it to read, each permanent employee may receive a salary increase after their salary review has been conducted. The timing of this salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners. Now, I want to clarify that, I don't know if you have that or not. I think I sent
No,
that out.
I didn't receive that in
Okay.
what the employees received.
You want to quickly read this copy, please?
We submitted this, and this was, this change and modification to what you have, Chief, was based upon a meeting that we have with the Personnel Review Board. So I submitted that to the Personnel Review Board, but it was not submitted countywide. But I do want to clarify one thing, in that we are not moving away from steps and grades. We're not moving away from that. That is still a part, that is still a structure with the county. I thought I heard you say that we are moving away from that. We're not moving away from steps and grades. The only thing we're doing is adding an open range pay structure.
Okay. Well, but your proposal says each permanent employee may receive a salary increase not to exceed one step.
And that's why I modified it. We had this conversation during our meeting, and I know that's what you have in your hand.
Okay, so we wasn't aware of any modifications, because none of the county employees was notified, nor was it submitted when.
Did you not, she didn't give you a copy of that?
I read what was written, yes, sir.
That each permanent employee may receive a salary increase after their salary has been, review has been conducted. The timing of the salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners.
Right, I understand that. What I'm saying is, we had no notification of that, so what we're going by is what was just read initially and proposed.
Yeah, and like Mr. Perry said, at the work session, we saw some of what you saw, and he also did, and that's the reason it says like it is.
Okay.
All right, and the way it will be presented is the change. Each permanent employee may receive a salary increase after their salary review has been conducted. The timing of the increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners. That's the change. And that had to do pretty much with the timing that Major Holmes talked about earlier.
Right.
You know, the fact that they're getting to a more defined time. Is that not right, Major Holmes? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
Is this the opposite, is this section the one that relates to the salary reviews, that relates to the merit increases on the anniversary date? Okay, so we're getting away from the anniversary date of the employee under this section to receive a salary increase. So the section 1342 relates to a merit increase
Right.
based on the individual's hire date.
Right.
So this is taking away the merit increase altogether, in a sense that you're leaving it open to give a raise, whether it be, but it's not going to be called a merit raise anymore.
It will be called a merit increase.
Okay,
It will be called a merit increase, and we're not taking away a merit increase. The only thing, the thing that Bobby spoke about earlier, in that last year in 2019, the Board of Commissioners voted to have both a merit increase and a cost of living adjustment effective in the first pay period of July.
right.
So, I got a lot of questions in my department in regards to, well, my anniversary date falls in February, or my anniversary date falls before that. Will I receive retro pay? The answer, was no, and the way that it's worded in the merit system currently, it contradicts with what the Board of Commissioners sought to do last year. Last year, we did not have, budget-wise, we didn't have enough money to give employees merit increases on their anniversary dates. So they said, we'll make all of them effective as of the first pay period in July. And moving forward, we want to give them the autonomy to do that.
Right, okay. I understand the clarification.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm still opposed to this. It takes away from the merit system. Section 1342 clearly states when these reviews are to be done and when the increases are to be due. And if we change this thing to February to May, then there's no way to do it fairly. Everybody's anniversaries do not fall in that period. Some fall before, some fall after, so it kind of skews the pay scale. It may be what's happening right now, but it's in contradiction to the merit system, and I'm opposed to it, sir.
Okay. Lee, do you have any discussion on that?
No, I know the wording at first was the BOC has moved away from merit increases, and I did not like that wording, which the wording was changed to the timing of this salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners. Mr. Perry, can you address?
Well, initially, absolutely. Initially, the reason for the change was the BOC has moved away from merit increases on the employee's anniversary date. Not just we've moved away from merit increases, and we, during our meeting, you all mentioned that that has somewhat of a negative connotation to it. So I changed it to read as such: the BOC will authorize the timing of salary review increases, which is, it captures that, and it's what they're doing right now. A lot of the salary review increases, the merit increases, are based off of the budget. And I'd much rather, and I'm speaking for myself, if the budget does not allow for a merit increase on the anniversary date, but it will allow for everybody to get a merit increase in July, August, September, or whenever, I'd rather get that merit increase whenever they can afford it.
My name is Michelle Mahaney. I work for the fire department. I just have a question, I guess, a little bit more of clarification, is the way it currently reads is that your salary increase will not exceed one step. When I hired on with the county 20 years ago, I was hired in at a grade and step. Last year, my pay was changed, and I no longer have steps. I didn't get a vote, I didn't get a say-so in that. So when the requested change is still stating that the increase should not exceed 1 step, I'd like a definition of what a step is.
Well, that's what we're talking about, Michelle, is that that's not the proposed change. After we met as a board to talk about those proposals, we talked about exactly what you just mentioned, that it can be confusing if you keep the 1 step in there and we have the open range. So the current proposal that I'm proposing for the Personnel Review Board to consider reads as such: each permanent employee may receive a salary increase after their salary review has been conducted. The timing of this salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners. It does not cite 1 step.
I understand that, Mr. Perry. My question, I guess, is something I'm trying to clarify, is if you all had a work session, why were we, the employees, not given copies of the revisions? Because I don't have that. I printed these right before I left my office at 5 o'clock, and I have not received anything that was noted as a revision. Do we, the employees, not receive a copy of that so that we can review it prior to coming to this meeting?
Well, Michelle, revisions happen, several revisions have just passed. We've just had several revisions just sitting here. We've revised it. So, moving forward, we'll make sure that if time permits, we will definitely get any revisions to what you all have out to you. But that's a practice that I've become accustomed to the 5 years I've been here. We've changed, the proposals go out as soon as we get them, compile the information, and we send them out. Then we meet as, I meet with the board, Personnel Review Board, and if they see some things that, they like the change, but they want to see some verbiage changed here or there, we've done that in the past. This is no different from that. I understand what you're saying, but this is no different from what we've done in the past.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
While she's approaching, Mr. Perry, would it be reasonable to say that if we don't get these changes that we suggest out to the employees before the meeting, that we have copies available at the back of the room so they can
Absolutely.
be handed out to the employees when they get here
Absolutely.
with an asterisk on it? These have
Absolutely.
changed?
Absolutely. And what we'll do to make sure that we get them out beforehand is that we'll just have to schedule the meeting that we have a little earlier. So it'll at least give us a week's time to get those, any proposed changes to the proposals out to the employees.
I'm sorry.
And-
Didn't mean to
and
cut
if-
into your time.
Yeah, if I could just make mention that, I understand, and we get better every year as we move forward, but I want to assure each and every one of you that we're not trying to sneak anything past you. We're not trying to cover up anything. We're not trying to, it's just the way this fell. And I can understand you being, a little put off by this information being changed during the meeting, but I want to assure you that everything is above board.
Jenny Eschenberg, DOT. I kind of piggyback off of some of what Michelle is saying, and it's a little twofold. Part of it is with the grade and step, translating into the open range. It's difficult for us, I think Michelle does some of the NOPAs as well. It's difficult when we are submitting these forms, we just have a start, a middle, and a high end. We don't have the numbers now to say, okay, he's moved up 1. What's the next salary to move this person up to when we do these personnel review forms, or the NOPAs to submit. So that's part of our problem is administratively, we don't know what to fill in.
Okay.
That's number one. The other side of that is, off of what you are saying for a modification of what you're submitting, you're saying now there is no limit to what a person can move up. Is that something you want to leave open? Do you want to say there's no minimum a person? Are they just moving up a penny? Are they moving up $10 an hour? what is, I think you might want to clarify specifically. Maybe not a step, because in open ranges, we don't have steps now, but maybe percentile. Because in the past, the steps were what, .0125?
2.5.
Oh, something like that, okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it was from one grade to the other. So something along that range.
Okay,
But that was just,
okay.
that was it.
Now, and Jenny, thank you for that feedback. I will say that, that's a good point. We may want to, with the administrators, those who we normally get NOPAs from, sit and have a discussion regarding the open range and how we plan to move forward with it, and, the information that you should most likely be familiar with to put on the NOPA. And we'll certainly do that.
I have a question. May I have, can I see what was, because I don't think I have what y'all are talking about. If it's something that we weren't given, I'd like to look at it if it's all right.
The new, how long is that one? I'll give you that one. I won't loan it.
Yeah.
You can have it. I can read on.
This is the amended one of it here?
The one
Yes.
that it says a salary increase not to exceed one step.
No, that's
No,
not the
I gave you
amended
the
one.
wrong one.
Okay.
Trade with me, Lenny. I'll need that one back, and I'll get you a copy of it.
It does go out. I'm with our employee representative. I disagree with this. I think a step should be left in it.
The what? Now, I didn't hear.
I think a step should be left in it for wording. One step.
Like the original. Just one.
You're saying
Two,
it
but you brought
currently
one
reads
back.
one step, you're just saying take that out, and it is out
No.
in the change two.
No, I think Lindy was asking to leave the one step in. Am I correct?
Yes,
The original version.
not to exceed one step. Because that takes the word step out.
Right.
This is, let me see that. I wasn't going to speak again, but I am. This is the last one we're dealing with. I know we all want to get out of here tonight, but the more I listen about this, we have a situation where it was presented to be changed to include the one step, and then there's an amendment that's been done and talked about and presented tonight that wasn't made available, my understanding, to the employees. So I asked, because of this confusion, I think the easiest way to handle this is this be denied at this time and redone at a later date, because it wasn't put out for the employees, for them to be able to understand. And because on one hand, we had it this way and had the step in there, and that benefits anybody that's under a grade and step. Now the amendment doesn't include that step, not saying that it does away with the employees with the grade and step, but I don't know and haven't done enough research to decide if it does or doesn't take that away, the way it's worded. So my suggestion would be that we deny number 10 with the original written version and also in an amended version, and it have to come back before this body at a later time with some clarification. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you,
I agree.
thank you.
And Julian, I disagree with that. Nothing is being taken away from anyone. And just the fact that one step is not mentioned, it says not to exceed one step. We may hit a good budget year and the Board of Commissioners may want to give us 2 steps. Who knows? All we're saying is that to further identify that we have 2 pay structures, both an open pay structure and a grade and step. We're taking that out of there. It's the same thing that we discussed during our meeting. It doesn't have a negative effect on anyone who's in either the open range or the grade and step plan. It's just merely stating that a permanent employee may receive, and it says may. It doesn't confirm or deny that a salary increase should or shouldn't be given. It just says it may be given after their salary review has been conducted. And the timing of the salary increase will be established by the Board of Commissioners.
My recommendation on this at this time is that we reject it. I'm still not happy with the opening statement of this thing is that on the anniversary date of the employment with the county, each permanent employee may receive a salary increase not to exceed one step. The one step is there in the origin, and it has a time in the year, and what's happening right now is out of step with the merit system. So my motion would be at this time to reject it, further study, and look at it next year.
Ms. Brown?
I tend to agree with that, and I would like to request that these changes, we were just receiving these tonight, but it is stemming from our discussion at our previous hearing to read and go over all of these and study
Work session.
these at the work session.
All right.
And I do feel that these copies need to go out.
All right. Okay.
I would like to table this. I would like these people to receive copies of
Well,
what
all
we
right.
received.
We're not going, we won't table it. And what we will do is, my recommendation is what Major Holmes recommended, is that it be brought back, studied next year, do that. I agree that we had that in the work session. We talked about it, but the discussion has changed my opinion on what. So with it, do we have any other discussion? I need a vote. I need a motion.
You have a motion, sir.
All right?
My motion was to reject it,
Okay.
have further study, and bring it back next year.
Okay. Ms. Brown?
A second.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion carries.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, ladies and gentlemen, any other discussion? I'd like to have one other couple minutes of your time. This will be the last meeting for Cindy Rakestraw. She is retiring. I've been doing this 34 years, and I think she's the third person that we've ever had in that position. Paula was good, Lois was good, but this lady right here has gone over and above. She's been a blessing to, and I know Fred would acknowledge that in his time here with her knowledge and her commitment to the county. And if anybody in this room, including old man that's had a stroke, would do it, let's stand up and give her a standing ovation. She will be sorely missed, and I'll probably call on her anyway. But it's been a pleasure, Cindy. You and your family are in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you so much.
We're adjourned.
Thank you all for coming.